So how do you set healthy boundaries with the drama queens in your life? I love my family to pieces, but they are immensely talented at getting on my nerves. Is anyone else stressed this holiday season thinking about the impending family drama unfolding at the dinner table? Today's funtivity topic is how to set boundaries specifically with family. First things first, let's make sure we're on the same page. So what even is a boundary? I get the impression that people think a boundary is a rule that you dictate to other people in terms of how they should treat you. This is a really nice sentiment. However, you have no control over how other people act. And verbally communicating your boundaries is the least effective way to get the behavior you feel like you deserve. Every day, we are constantly communicating through our actions and our embodiment. I'm sure it makes a little power-hungry control freak in your mind happy to imagine that you can dictate your will to others and they'll just fall in line because you said so. If you are expecting people to do what you tell them to do just because you dictated it so, you are living in a fantasy land. A true effective boundary, it is a decision you make within yourself for how you will act and for what you are available for to receive. It is not a rule that you impose on others. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily, and for my day job, I work as a civil engineer. After hours, I like to bring you my favorite personal development advice to help you grow into the woman of your dreams. Grab your tea, tuck in, and let's get started. When I feel the seed of resentment growing within me, I know that I have in some way failed to communicate my boundaries and my needs. So the first step in order to create better boundaries is to actually understand the boundaries that you need. You may already know what behavior in others sets you off and makes you feel triggered. But still, I would suggest that you get your journal out and you spend some time marinating on your emotions and your feelings to really get to the bottom of why you feel so touchy around certain subjects. The better you can understand yourself and your needs, the better you can communicate those to other people so that they can show up for you and they can make you happy. So I have come up with some journal prompts for you guys to help you to delve deep into your personal triggers and to help you understand the boundaries that you would need to set in order to be better in relationship with your friends and family. The first question I would ask myself is, what is happening in the external world when I feel triggered? What is the primary emotion I'm experiencing when I feel triggered? When you feel triggered, there is always like a heightened emotion that comes up of hurt and pain, of disbelief, of mistrust, of betrayal. You have to understand what that is before we can dig deeper beneath it to figure out why it exists. So you have to name that feeling before you can kind of unravel it and get to the juiciness beneath why that emotional feeling exists. And once you know what that primary emotion is, I would ask yourself afterwards, what is the primary desire that lives underneath that triggered emotion? So for example, if I feel hurt because someone, I don't know, said my hair looked bad one day. the princess hair looks great today, but let's just use that as an example. Maybe I forgot to style my hair one day and I walk out into the world and my friend says, oh, your hair is really frizzy today. That could be reality, that could be fact. In the moment, I could feel hurt because she's made me feel, I don't know, less cute than normal. I would then need to delve in and say, okay, what is the desire underneath that pain that I want as an outcome in this interaction? If I'm feeling hurt because someone has attacked my physical beauty, I probably want someone to appreciate the beauty that I do show. And then once you understand that you really want to feel appreciated and adored, you can work to change your actions such that you're more likely to be appreciated and adored in your daily life. The next thing we have to talk about if you're going to set better boundaries is to understand that you only have control over your actions. You have no control over other people, and you have no control over the external events in the world, and you have no control over the future. Any attempt on your part to change and conform someone else's actions to better suit you is actually a form of manipulation. Everyone hates being manipulated. It feels so icky. And if you want to push someone away, definitely try to manipulate their actions. Focusing on things you have the power to change, not feeling powerless because you can't make other people do what you want them to do. Newsflash, You can't make anyone do anything. Focus on what you have control over. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are within your control. Your personal perception and your behavior are your problem to solve. Nothing else. Please stop taking on the world and trying to fix everyone around you. You'll exhaust yourself doing an impossible job. So, because we're talking about journaling lately on the channel, I'm going to give you some more journal prompts to help you better understand the internal story you're telling yourself when you're feeling triggered, and to help you move past that and rewrite your story. The first question you should ask yourself is, what is the story I am telling myself when I feel triggered by someone else? Now, if someone has hurt me in some way, if they've told me I have bad hair, or if they've told me my work is horrible, or if they've told me, I don't know, that my peach cobbler came out horrible, I could internalize that very negatively, or I could view it from a positive standpoint. I could say, my aunt told me my peach cobbler was horrible. That means I have horrible cooking skills, and it just means that I should do better things with my time instead of baking. Or when my aunt says this peach cobbler is terrible, I could internalize that story in a positive way by saying, oh, maybe this specific recipe is just not what she likes. Or maybe I did something different in this recipe to make it come out less optimally. There is always a different story you can tell yourself when you feel triggered. You don't have to believe the initial negative story that comes to your mind. The next question I would ask myself is this story true? When my aunt tells me this peach cobbler is horrible, that's not a fact. That's just her perception that it happens to be a bad recipe. I could eat the peach cobbler and love it. That's great. That's my reality. That's my truth in that moment. But I don't have to convince her that my peach cobbler is really good if she doesn't like it. She's allowed to not like it. She's entitled to have her perception and her opinion. It has no effect on me. And you want to be telling yourself internal stories that actually empower you and serve you. So the next question I would ask myself is the story I'm telling myself helping or hurting me? And if it is hurting me, how can I tell myself a different story that would actually empower me, help me grow, and improve my relationships? So in our peach cobbler example, when my aunt tells me my peach cobbler is horrible, I can read that as, oh, Mary doesn't like peach cobbler. Oh, maybe I did something different in this recipe. How can I be better next time? Or, oh, maybe this just isn't the dessert she was expecting. Those are all positive ways to look at it that don't hurt me and don't make me feel triggered. And that story I'm telling myself in my head is really like the key to success, to make sure that your relationships are working smoothly, because we are the architect of most of our problems, and the majority of problems that we think exist in relationships are actually a figment of our own imagination. They are little fantasies that live in our head about how someone else's actions mean in terms of how they love us. Our perception of their actions is not always their truth. Don't be making up stories about how other people feel about you, and make sure the stories that you're telling yourself are constructive and uplifting to your personal happiness and help to create a better environment for your relationships. All right, and then the final question I would ask myself for this section of our video is, what do I need to do in order to believe this new uplifted story that I'm telling myself? A lot of the positivity jargon can feel kind of fake and fluffy sometimes if you don't feel like embodied in that belief yet. So if my aunt tells me my peach cobbler is terrible and I don't really feel like I'm a good baker now, it kind of hurts me because I have an internal belief that I'm already not good enough to have my family enjoy my desserts. If I believe that I'm a good baker and I'm a good cook and that I'm trying to make my family feel loved and cared for when I'm baking them, it is very easy for me to adopt the internal story that Mary may just not like my peach cobbler and maybe a different dessert is best for her, and not internalize that. So you want to make sure your beliefs are in line with the internal stories you're telling yourself about yourself. Otherwise, they will just feel fake. And you need to spend time in your journal or marinating on the subject, thinking about how you can cultivate better beliefs within yourself that are uplifting to support the story you want to be your reality. The next thing that I want you guys to focus on if you want to set better boundaries is to focus on your beliefs and your embodiment and communicating through them instead of focusing primarily on your words as a tool to get what you feel like you deserve. We are all communicating all the time, primarily through our energy and our actions. This is what I mean when I say embodiment. It's who you present yourself to the world to be. Our embodiment shows other people how we expect to be treated. If you feel triggered in the moment by something your family has said, you can actively choose in that moment to act in a way such that you'll encourage further behavior that causes you more pain, or you can act in a way that discourages their bad behavior. Generally, I think you get more with honey than you get with salt, so I would focus your efforts on encouraging behavior in relationships that make you feel loved and cherished. Then I would criticizing people for behavior that makes you feel hurt. It is much more empowering for others to be uplifted and to be praised for things they do than it is for them to be pushed down by things that you don't like. So your relationships will progress faster if you focus on the positivity side of the situation. If I want to feel treated with love and respect, I want to feel cherished and adored. So in a moment when someone does something that makes me feel respected, loved, cherished, adored, I want to praise that behavior and pour into that so that they want to do it more in the future. So if someone gives me a gift, or if someone helps me with something that's stressing me out, or if someone gives me compliments that bring joy to my life, I need to encourage that behavior so they're more likely to do it in the future. And I know it's sometimes hard to just receive from others without thinking you need to reciprocate, but this is really the key to getting more out of people, is to deeply, deeply appreciate whatever they're giving to you. So if you get a compliment, just say, "Oh my gosh, I appreciate that so much. It makes me feel so loved when you say things like that." That statement will make them want to give you more compliments in the future. But if someone tells you, "Oh, I love the sweater you're wearing today," and your response is, "Oh, this thing, I just got it at Marshall's for $2. They're not having a positive reaction with you. You're actually putting a negative spin on their compliment, and they're going to be less likely to give you more of them. So to do this in real time, you have to be emotionally aware enough to know the optimal action to take when you feel triggered. And you don't just happen to be triggered in negative ways, you do also get triggered in positive ways. So we want to make sure you're encouraging behavior that makes you feel positively triggered, and we're not encouraging behavior that makes you feel negatively triggered. The first question you should ask yourself to become more self-aware on the subject is, how am I currently acting when I feel triggered? Odds are, if you're watching this video, it's because the way you have been acting is not serving you. So bring light to your behavior that is not your optimal self so we can work to change it. The next question you need to understand the answer to is, are my current actions helping or hurting me? And once you understand that, you can work to change the behavior that is hurting your interaction with others. The next journal prompt I think is really powerful because I talk a lot about curating your ideal self, and she is not just an external pretty package, she is also an embodied person out in the world who is really solidified in her beliefs and her actions, who has a really strong set of core beliefs that support her internal persona. So you want to ask yourself, how would the ideal version of myself act in this scenario? When my aunt tells me that my peach cobbler is horrible, how would the best version of me respond in that scene? Then after you know the ideal actions that you would have to take in that scenario, you have to understand the core beliefs that will empower you to do those things. If you want your words and your actions to be successful, you need to be completely embodied in the beliefs that support them. You have to believe 100% in the fact that you are worthy of the treatment that you're saying you desire in order for people to believe you. If you're showing and telling people that you want to be loved, cherished, and respected, but it feels like acting to other people, they're not going to take you seriously. So you have to have your internal beliefs about your self-worth rock solid before you can effectively communicate those boundaries to other people. And then once you are really solidified in your internal core beliefs, then you can ask yourself, what is one small action I can take to walk myself closer to my ideal version of myself? It takes time to grow into the woman of your dreams, and it doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistent small actions which constantly train your nervous system to grow and be a new elevated person. Alright, now that we spent all this time focusing on your internal story, your internal core beliefs, and your embodiment, we're finally going to work to better communicate your words in a kind way that will help you get the treatment you feel you deserve. If you still feel like you need to verbally communicate your feelings after doing all of your inner work, then it's best to approach it from a stance of gratitude and optimism. I know that you have family and friends who love and support you. Odds are that they don't intend to hurt you when you're feeling triggered. They want you to feel happy and they want you to feel cared for. And your family may not even know that they've been hurting you if you've been suppressing your feelings for prolonged periods of time. So I have put together a little script for you guys to help you better communicate your needs to your family and friends in a kind way that helps you get your needs met. But just remember, you only have control over you. So don't expect them to instantly change their behavior just because you say so. Even other people are going on their own inner work journey. And if they want to better show up for you, they have to learn how to show up for you. And even if you communicate exactly what you want, how you want it, it's going to take time for that to be their new normal. So be patient with others and be kind and be loving. Don't be frustrated if someone breaks your boundary again after you've already communicated it to them. The learning process for everyone, and you have to teach people how you need to be treated. If you're looking for a specific script in terms of how to communicate to others that they've hurt you and crossed a boundary, here it is. First, ouch, rightly or wrongly, I feel like when you do, I know that it's probably not your intention to hurt me. I know that you love me and I feel you trying to help me. The best way you could do that would be, and you can just insert your personal feelings during the blanks. I will leave the full script for you guys in the description box in case you need to use it in the future. But again, go in your journal and write out your optimal responses to this for when you feel triggered in different moments, because that will help you feel more confident to do it in real time if you've already practiced it on your own. I know, especially as a woman, sometimes it's challenging to find your voice and speak your truth. And being on YouTube actually helps me a lot to articulate my thoughts and feelings. But when I didn't have that, I did used to just make little videos of myself to get used to saying the things that I wanted my future self to say. So if you're not feeling confident yet in verbally articulating your boundaries, make yourself a little video journal and take your phone out. Make a video of you practicing talking to the other person in a kind, optimistic way to help get your boundaries met. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video was helpful. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I know the system has helped me so much to get the love I feel I deserve and to not feel so hurt or emotionally triggered when people cross boundaries that I think I've set. Good luck, everyone, and I hope this video helped you to calm some of the drama around the dinner table this holiday season.